All right, this week in landscaping, June 9th, we're going to talk about some grasses, some goats, and some varieties of plants. Maybe you talk about the weather a little bit. But we're going to start here. This is Bermuda. This is the classic seed head of Bermuda. You'll see these pop up in yards if you're not mowing regularly enough. In fact, even if you're mowing pretty regularly, sometimes these will pop up very quickly. Usually not this tall, obviously, if you're mowing regularly. This is a clear indication that you're dealing with Bermuda. One thing to note on Bermuda is that there's both the genetically modified varieties and then some common varieties. The seed types only work on the regular varieties, like the common varieties. This can help with helping propagate your yard, but usually it's not going to have that big of an impact in filling out your yard if you got some bare spots. One of the things I find interesting about this, and the same thing happens with St. Augustine grass, is that sometimes, if not often, when you see an excessive amount of seed heads, it's actually due to stress in the lawn, a deficiency in nitrogen or some other important nutrient source. Basically what your lawn is doing is saying, oh no, things are going bad, we better start reproducing, otherwise we will die off. Again, that's not entirely accurate. You'll see these seed heads all throughout the year, but specifically in the time, if you're seeing excessive seed heads, it could be an indication that your lawn is under stress, whether from lack of water or nutrients or something else like that. So that goes to the second picture here, if I can get it to work. There we go. This is the seed heads for St. Augustine. Now this one almost has zero value. St. Augustine almost never grows from seeds. It can do a little bit maybe, but not even close to Bermuda. That's why we as an organization only will reseed Bermuda areas, common Bermuda. But St. Augustine, you'll see this again, indication that you're not mowing regularly enough. It only really happens in areas that are too tall and or areas of stress. But if you notice this, it does look kind of like asparagus, to me at least. So I don't know if it tastes like asparagus. I haven't tried it. Maybe I should. I took this picture because you're seeing these red yuccas. I should have gotten a regular picture of the plant, but it's the plant on the ground with the long stringy pieces sticking out, kind of like maybe an octopus. But they call them red yuccas because they end up producing these red flowers. I guess in this case it's kind of pastel pink, but they don't want to call them pastel pink yuccas. But I generally don't see that blooms actually blooming, and I saw that this weekend and I thought it was pretty. These do so well natively in town, which means they do really well in yards, and hummingbirds and other pollinators love them. This is a terrible picture, but I thought it proved a great point. If you look at these two plants, the one that's kind of grayish and greenish, these are both Texas sages. And this can be a problem if you don't specify the kind of plant you're looking for. This is in some shopping center here in town, but I was driving by and took a picture out the window when I was at a stoplight, so I was safe. My kids thought I was crazy. Anyway, both of these are Texas sages. So if someone just says, I would like a Texas sage, the next question is, what kind of Texas sage? This happens in all kinds of plants. Just saying the main name of a plant is generally not specific enough because it can end up with wildly divergent results. So the one on the left, I believe, is called a Silverado Texas sage. They tend to be more compact, lighter colored, and bloom a lot more. The one on the right, I think, is called like a green cloud Texas sage. They usually get bigger. They usually stand more upright. Both of these actually do fairly well under trimming circumstances. You can see the one on the right, as it gets taller, it gets leggier in the bottom. One of the reasons that we like the one on the left is that it will stay smaller and more compact, and you don't end up with some of the less full area at the bottom as it gets more mature. But I thought this was really valuable. So as you're looking through types of plants, types of trees, crepe myrtles, classic example, you'll end up with two crepe myrtles. One of them's 40 feet tall and one of them's 15. Those are different plants. They're both crepe myrtles, but they're different varieties. So make sure you know what you're doing when you're matching things. last thing here is I was driving through Travis Country this last week, and I saw this sign, and I thought that was hilarious. And so I went and stopped and went and visited. And they have this area that's gated off, or it's like a little electric movable fence. And they apparently just moved these goats through the green belt to help decrease fire risk and eat plants. I've heard about this. It's actually really good for the environment, and I don't know what they charge, but I thought it was hilarious. Maybe we should start offering goat services for our customers. I think technically the business is called Rent a Ruminant, which I thought was hilarious. But I thought it was worth sharing that these goats were all out there doing God's work in the greenbelt, eating everything 3 feet and under, maybe 4 feet and under. And then they just move them through the greenbelt and keep clearing it out. Okay, that's this week in landscaping. Hope you're doing well. Take care. Cheers.